recorded its second win for the season, and North, which topped the table in the home and away series last year, hasn't had a win in 3 rounds thus far. A 63-point win to Footscray after trailing by 2 points at half-time. 6 goals to Rickman, another 5 to Beasley and 4 to Edmund, and for the losers, Bryant kicked 4 and Kelly kicked 3. And Gareth Andrews at Arden Street, not looking good for the Roos.
No, well, certainly, Jim, I'd say after today's performance that North Melbourne are really heading towards the bottom of the ladder, at least in the bottom 2 or 3 positions. They're just not a shadow of the side that they once were, whereas Footscray, after their sad loss to Geelong out at VFL Park last week, really bounced back, and they show the difference in football today, and that is that a team with commitment, with youth, with enthusiasm is really going to perform well. This is the formula that I think Geelong's starting to find, and it's certainly the formula that Footscray's found. There's no doubt that they had more than one forward player today, and I think that made a big difference to them. Rickman is a real goer on the half-forward line. They sadly missed Williams last week, and together with Beasley, they're starting to make up the numbers on the forward line. Edmund was also a good performer. And certainly one of the real stars today was Purser as a ruckman, and he proved last year time and time again that he's a star of the future. He was an excellent player today, as also was McKenna as a rover. North Melbourne, well, they look now like a jaded old prize fighter. They really are down and out. A lot of their older players are starting to fade out, and the pity for North Melbourne is that some of the younger players who they are really relying on to fill in the gaps, I think, are just average footballers, and that's sad for North Melbourne in the future.
Sounds like they've had one game too many. What about Alan Edwards? You mentioned a number of effective Footscray forwards. Is he an answer to a key post?
Well, as long as the other player, he's not a mover, Alan Edwards. I've been an admirer of his talents and his skills, but he's had too many operations, too many injuries. He's a lot slower now, but as long as the players run around him, he can be a good performer for Footscray, and he proved that in the last half today.
Keith Gregg.
Keith Gregg was one of North Melbourne's best players today, there's no doubt about that. He's a great footballer, he's a great player, he came back from a tough injury, yet he played on Rickman. Rickman kicked 6 goals against him. And Keith Gregg, I'm sorry to say, is really into his last season of league football.
Just a quick one, Gareth. Glendinning.
Glendinning, if they had 6 Glendennings, they'd be a great side.
Okay, well, they've only got one at the moment, sadly, and they're down in the bottom couple of spots on the ladder. We'll have a look at the ladder just a little bit later on. But now it's replay time, and the action comes